what advice would you give to someone who would like to wear Lolita fashion but is too afraid yet?
Yeah, when people ask that around online, I feel like this is where me being a salty old Lolita comes across, because I no longer, like, it's been years since I've been that new. So you forget what it was like, or your circumstances were different and you never quite had the same struggle. So all I can say is do it. There's no other way but doing it. But also when I say do it, there are tons of resources online already that people are not utilising. Like, I know that for years people have deferred to the FEL Lolita blog, which is still a fantastic resource despite a lot of it being written 4, 5, 6 years ago now. But also people don't have the attention span to keep reading blogs, I found. But then we have YouTubers like yourself, like Lovely Law, like Tyler Willis, like plenty of us that you can put the video on and learn from that. So I'd say do your research. Look up Lolita fashion, not Lolita.
No.
Or EGL if you feel very hardcore, and absorb all those resources before you make any decisions. Because I think doing it and like, there's only so much that you can learn in theory, so you have to start doing it to really get an understanding of what it feels like, how it works, what things go together and what things don't. But there's, at the same time, there's enough already written and said about that you can read or watch and just absorb before you start doing it, and that will make your coordinates better. And that will make your experience of joining the fashion more positive. And I think, like, we are seeing that. We are seeing more people sharing, like, this is my first coordinate, and you think, how dare you not be an eater on your first coordinate? How dare you? But at the same time, it's amazing that people are joining that fashion that way. And, it's proof that it's possible, that you can join the fashion and join it well from the beginning. You don't have to now be an eater and have an eater coordinate. You can do it well, but you have to have that dedication to let's absorb the information and then do it.
Maybe now the information is more available than before, because YouTube is easier than finding the blogs and everything, and so it's easy to get good at from the start.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Lolita is more accessible than ever.
Oh yeah.
You have, Japanese brands will have websites in English, or they'll have branches overseas. There'll be indie brands in all kinds of countries, whether that's China, whether that's North America, whether that's in Europe, whether that's Australia. I think Africa is the only continent I can think of that I've not heard of an indie brand or
That's
Lolita.
True.
I know of Lolitas from
Lolita community either.
I've known of singular Lolitas
Okay.
from various countries on the African continent, but not of brands, and not maybe of communities. Maybe they're there and I'm just not partial to that because of language barriers. But there's so much more information and so much more resources available, and when you go to conventions, which is another way a lot of people get introduced, you'll either see someone in Lolita, or there might be a J Fashion panel and they'll mention that. So there's plenty of ways to learn about it and to come across it that's still legitimate. And it's just easier because you're not there having to wait for someone to scan a Gothic and Lolita Bible, or you're not having to wait for someone, to go to Japan to buy that. You can just order online or go to a local swap meet if there is one in your area, and do it that way. It's so much easier than it used to be.
Yeah.
And I say that as someone who started in 2011 when Lolita was already way more accessible than people who have started in 2008, 2007 and earlier, when it was one EGL live journal and you had to be lucky to know someone who was in Japan.
Yeah.